Couple important thing about logical operator before we moving forward to the conditional operator. About the logical operator, we have the and, or, and not. And also they, just like the older operation, they have different priority. So actually not have the highest priority. Then you have and, then you have or. So then if the value of expression can be determined by evaluate just the stop expression on left side of the logical operator, so then the stop expression on the right will not be evaluated. So that's about the short circuit evaluation. So this one actually is the beginning of the previous video I talked about. So when we're using the and operator, we have two expressions, right? So if the first expression already false, I don't need to do the second one. So the same thing for the or. So the or we know is one is true. So that's why the first expression is at true. We don't need to go to the second one. So the rest of that, actually I will just let you to read yourself how we will do the and or operator. So you need to be careful no matter and or operator, we have two logical expressions on both sides. So you need to be very, very careful. We have the greater than 0 and great less than equal to 100. You can write like this. Actually, that's in math mean this way. But we cannot write this way in mathematical condition. So be very careful. In C++, we don't have a two operator associated with one variable. Instead, you need to either using the and operator or operator to do that. So that's why be careful, you never write like this way. But we can just do like this. You see great less than equal to 0. And because they need to match at the same time, right? So and the great less than equal to 100. So you can do this way, but you cannot do this. So that's about the logical operator. So after we finish the logical operator, we will talk about conditional operator. So the conditional operator, actually we already talked about that for a little bit. In the first couple weeks, we talk about operator, we have the binary operator or ternary operator. So this ternary operator associated with three operand is we call the conditional operator. So this conditional operator is, you will see here, they have two operators combined together. You have question mark and the colon. So before the question mark, you have first expression. Then between the question mark and the colon, you have the second one. Then after colon, you have the third one. That's what we call the conditional operator. So the conditional operator will do what? They can use to replace the short if-else statement. So how? Let me explain to you. The question mark, you see we have three operands, right? So we have three operands for the conditional operator. So actually the first operand before the question mark is a condition. So you need to give the logical expression. So if this logical expression is true, then the second operand value will be choose. Otherwise, if the condition is false, so the third operand will be choose. So don't you think that's very similar to our if-else statement? Our if statement followed by a condition. If that condition is true, we execute the next statement after the if statement. Otherwise, if that false, we execute the statement after the else. So that's why here we can using the conditional operator to replace the if-else statement. For example, we see this if-else statement. So if x less than 0, we assign y equal to 10. Otherwise, we assign z equal to 20. So this one actually they can be converted into a conditional operator. So you can see here the condition we will put before the question mark. So then you will see the second argument, that's for the true, if the condition is true. So then I put in different color. So then you see here, if this condition is true, then we do this one. So that's here. So then the same thing, if the condition is false, so then we return the third one. So the third one, that's make the color purple. Okay. So then actually we already have purple, so that's the blue. Okay, so you see they are kind of very simple to replace a if-else statement. So again, conditional operator, you have three operands. Before the question mark is the condition, but it's different than the if-else statement. If statement, we have to put the condition in a parenthesis. But the conditional operator, you don't have to really need a parenthesis. So then you will have your two more operand. So the next operand in the middle, they will for the condition is true. Then the last one for the condition is false. So that's our ternary operator, conditional operator. So the first expression will be test. Then the second expression if the first expression is true. Then for the third expression if the first expression is false. So let's see another example. Sometimes we want to get the user to enter the radius value. Then we can calculate the area for a circle. But sometimes if user accidentally give the radius is less than 0, should we still calculate the area equal to the pi r square? We shouldn't, right? Because you need to be careful. If radius equal to -5, -5 squared become positive 25. So that's why here is example. If the radius is less than 0, we should just assign area equal to 0. Otherwise, the area formula will be plugged in. So in the if-else statement, we have if the radius greater or equal to 0, so then I can calculate the area equal to the pi r squared. Else, let's just assign the area equal to 0. So this simple if-else statement, we can rewrite that with the conditional operator. So you can practice with that. So remember, we always have the question mark and the colon, right? So when you do that, actually the first thing, you just have the condition put before the question mark. So with the parentheses or not, it's up to you. So then you see after the if statement, we put in the second expression. So then after the else statement, we put at the end. So that's why your conditional operator will work. They will check if the radius greater or equal to 0. For true, I do this. False, I do the last one. So that's the conditional operator. So this example, the conditional operator actually want to calculate the area equal. So that's why you can see the area equal, they are repeated. So on the other hand, that's the one way you can rewrite the conditional operator. Our conditional operator doesn't need to be at the beginning of the statement. You see here, our purpose is assign area, right? So then we can have the area equal at the beginning. Then we have a conditional operator to decide what this area value will be. So that's why you see here we have when you do the assignment operator, so then we will calculate the right side first. So when we see the right side is the conditional operator, so that's why here we will do check if this one is true. If this one is true, I return the next value. If that one is false, so then I return the last value. So that's why here they will assign the area correctly. So that's another conditional operator example. You have two different ways to write it. Check by yourself, and don't forget, always put your statement into the IDE to see what's going on. So the next example, let's really see a complete code. We will do the conditional operator. So in the example 12, we will calculate the payment for the construction service. So usually construction service, they will charge by hours, but sometimes they will say you need to have the minimum hours. So that's why they will take this project for you. So we just say, for example, a construction service, they charge by hours. But if the working time less than 5 hours, they will charge 5 hours. So then here, we just do the if-else statement first. Then we will see how we will change that in the conditional operator. We just say, for example, the hours is the working hours. So then you will see here, if the hours less than 5, you see we need to change that equal to 5. Otherwise, you don't do any change. So then when we calculate, we can using the hours times the hourly rate. That's our total charge. So that's why this one is a very good example using a conditional operator. So if the hours less than 5, you see I will assign the hours equal to 5. Otherwise, I just don't change anything. So that's example 12. So then we will see here our hourly rate is $50. Then the minimum working hour is 5. So then we will get the user input for the hours. Then we will calculate the total charge. So we can prompt to the user, say how many hours will you work. So then we enter, or we see in the hours, right? So the hours, after we got the hours, we should using the hours times the pay rate to calculate the charge. But don't forget, this situation is we have the minimum working hours. So that's why here in line 23, that's our if-else statement earlier. But now we change to the conditional operator. So like earlier we say, right, we want to update the hours. So the hours equal, so then the whole thing is a conditional operator. We will check the hours user enter, is this one less than the minimum hours? So if that less than 5, so then we need to assign 5. Otherwise, we don't change. So that's the conditional operator earlier we have. Just the different thing is the minimum hour is 5. In the if-else statement, we write the 5. But here the 5 in the example 12, we write that as a constant number. So just in case, you see, if we make that constant number, in the future, if the minimum hours become 8, I can just change the 8. Then my logic is still the same. So that's here we're using the conditional operator. Again, conditional operator, we check the expression here. If the logical expression is true, we take the first value. If this one is false, we take the second one. So that's why if your hours is less than the minimum hours, I will charge by the minimum hours. Otherwise, don't change. So then afterward, we can calculate the pay rate times by hours. So then we display the charge by 2 decimal places. Here we have the 2 sample output. You see, if they work 10 hours, so that's greater than the minimum. So then they charge by 10 hours. So that's 10 times 50 is 500. But you see, if they only work for 4 hours, but we will charge by 5 hours. So 5 times 50 is 250. So make sure you will run this program from the IDE. Okay, so here is from the Cloud9. Also make sure you check your output.